Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and thank you to our witnesses for being here today. Mr. Levesque, I just want to run through the numbers to ensure I have them correct. Did you say it was 7 employees from UNRWA who were implicated in the interim report?
I believe it was 12.
Sorry, 12. Okay, and that's out of a total organization strength of around 30,000?
33,000 overall, 13,000 in Gaza.
The leader of the opposition recently referred to UNRWA as a terrorist organization. Does Global Affairs Canada feel it's reasonable to hold an organization that employs 33,000 people accountable for the actions of 12 of its members? Does the department share the view that that's the correct terminology to use in this case?
The department considers UNRWA to be a UN organization or sub-body that belongs to the UN family.
Is the department aware of any of our major allies that hold that view, holding the entire UNRWA organization accountable for the actions of 12 of its employees?
None that I'm aware of. No other country has referred to UNRWA as a terrorist organization.
Thank you for getting that on the record. Human Rights Watch has argued that the demise of UNRWA would be catastrophic for Gaza. Does the government of Canada share that view? And to add some context, how do you place UNRWA in terms of its ability to deliver aid to the people of Gaza?
We believe that UNRWA is an absolutely essential organization in the current context to be able to deliver humanitarian assistance to people in grave need in Gaza, not just because of the internal networks that they run to be able to deliver humanitarian assistance, but because they are also the organization that other humanitarian actors use inside Gaza. The World Food Program could not deliver its food to Gazans if it wasn't for UNRWA. UNICEF could not reach the children they need to reach if it wasn't for UNRWA. So it is an organization that is really the backbone of humanitarian assistance in Gaza.
And to be clear, when you're talking about grave need, we're referring to catastrophic destruction of necessary infrastructure, lack of access to medical supplies, to food, to basic shelter. Am I correct in outlining those?
That would be
very
correct.
Broadly. Thank you. You mentioned in your opening statements about Israel's right to defend itself, and I think everyone around this committee understands that right is afforded to any nation state around the world. I guess what I want you to help me understand is in the destruction that's going on in Gaza and the catastrophe that we're all witnessing day by day that's happening and being inflicted on the Palestinian people that live there. At what point does the government of Canada's understanding of the right to defend itself transition? Is Israel still meeting that defined right to defend itself with the destruction that's going on in Gaza right now?
What I would say, Mr. Chair, is that Israel really is at war right now. It is at war with Hamas. I can tell you, having stood 3 kilometers from the border with Gaza, that I could hear gunfire, automatic rifles going off. That's not civilians fighting the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force. That is a terrorist organization. We could hear artillery fire going in. So that war really is happening right now. It continues. The position of the government, and certainly the analysis of the department, is that maximum restraint, consideration for civilian life must be a consideration at all time. And we've seen phenomenal destruction, grave human suffering that we have called out and said numerous times that should be reduced, should be brought to on both sides. The violence has to stop. It is very difficult to give you an exact measure, but the trend and generally what Canadians and what this government has advocated for is a lowering of the temperature, is lessening of violence, and is increased consideration for civilians and human life in Gaza.
Mr. Levesque, the President of the United States has publicly referred to the intolerable levels of extremist settler violence, forced displacement of people in villages, and property destruction in the West Bank. Our own Minister of Foreign Affairs has announced that she would like to follow the United States example in sanctions. Can you please update this committee on whether those sanctions are going ahead, and what criteria and methods of investigation the government is using to identify extremist settlers and the violence that are being perpetrated on Palestinians in the West Bank?
Thank you. Again, without wanting to preempt decisions that the government might take, I can say that sanctions on extremist settlers is under active consideration, and it is an option that is being pursued at this time. As you probably know, our sanctions regime demands that we use open source information in order to identify which individuals or entities to list under our sanctions regime, something that we have pursued in this case. I should note that a number of extremist settlers have actually been found guilty of such aggressions by the Israeli government itself. So at the very least, there is a base of information there that we can use, in addition to wider sources that remain open source. Having been in the West Bank just a few days ago and been surrounded by those illegal settlements, I would say that there's enough body of evidence to be able to link the most extreme members in a relatively easy way.